So for this video, I'm going to talk about editing a trip while it's already dispatched. So let's first make a trip. Let's pick this trip number 28. It's got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stops in total. We can double click it. And you know what? There might be more stops. It looks like there's 11 stops total, so I might keep going down. I didn't really look, but we'll say new trip. It's going to ask us, do you want to bring all of the other stops with it, all the other legs? We say yes to all. If you were to click yes, it would just bring AA with, which would be, you would only do that if AB through the remainder was to go to a different driver or a different just be split up in a different way. Maybe it was going to be added to a different trip or something like that. But we'll do yes to all. Make sure we get that down there. And we're going to go by trip number. Click this trip number part, and it's going to assign in alphabetical or numerical order of trip number. So this is the one that we just put down. It was bill number 28, and now it has a trip number. You're just going to see the start and the end location of total, so you're not going to see all the children that have come with it until you optimize it. So we'll optimize it, and look at that, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I don't know, 15, 10, 15 stops. This is how it's going to look. You're picking all of them up from the same spot and dropping them off all the same, or all different spots. Now in the future, you're probably not going to see, you may not see, we're going to be doing some editing, so you may not see every single pickup like this. It might just say Geldwin as one pickup, and maybe you'll have, the freight bill, like the children bills come with it, but I don't know if you're going to be seeing it like this, so don't freak out if it doesn't look like that. Another thing, make sure to click this little calculator button. It's going to calculate the legs, and now we can see every single leg separately. Something that a couple different employees pointed out to me is that the zip code sometimes deals with a different name of the city. So let's say if we were to Google 03031, it could appear for multiple it doesn't appear for multiple cities, but like for example 33174, I think that would probably work. Yeah, so for example, if you were to do 33174, there's multiple cities that it covers. So in TruckMate, it might pick Sweetwater as one, it might pick Fontainebleau, but it's only going to pick one name. So it is the same location, it's in the same vicinity of location, but the reason that it doesn't say the city name that you're used to is because there's probably multiple cities under which fall under this zip code. So if there's a city that you are used to going to all the time and the zip code says something and it's not the name that you're used to seeing, let me know and I can just go into the zone tree and change the name. It's really not a big deal, but if it's something that matters a lot to you, if this is like, oh, this is not Lebanon, this is a, Timbuktu, I can just go in and change the name of it so it'll appear as it's supposed to for you and the driver. So that's good. We will optimize this. Lovely. Now we are good to go with our long 99 number trip. So what we can do is, obviously, we'll have to add a driver to this. We'll look for a current location, double or click on that once, and we can type in Hawkins. And make sure you have a caps lock on. Doesn't look like we have anyone in Hawkins, but we do have one in Ladysmith. So we can assign him to Ladysmith. Perfect. And power unit, we would also need one that's kind of in the area of Ladysmith, so we can click that and then start typing. There's Ladysmith. Lovely. And same with trailer. Make sure everything is in the right location. Perfect. So now we have our nice little trip pretty much planned out to the T. Now at this point, when we do have mobile comm, what we're going to do is we're going to right click, we're going to go to, maybe you have to, oopsies, you might have to right click. Oh, it should work here. I'm not really sure, but there should be a... Oh, but there's a button here. Okay, this button is not working now because we don't want to load offer to our actual drivers. But after you are ready to go and the trip is, going to be started really soon, you would press this button that would say offer load to driver. And that would appear straight to them on their PeopleNet machine in their truck. So then they would just click this, or they would click the information of the load, and then they would dispatch themselves. So pretty much you would just start seeing these trips, these legs start to cross off and cross off and cross off and cross off as they continue on their nice little trip. Geez, we lost our trip. Our trip, you can just click these numbers and it's going to put them in order. So it's going from least to greatest now. So this is the greatest one. So if you're ever looking, if you don't see your trip right away that you just created, you're like, what the heck? Right now it's ordering it in least to greatest. So your number is going to appear way at the bottom. Here's trip number 99. So we want to click trip number so that it's pointed up. This little arrow is upwards, which means it's in greatest to least. And then you're going to see your trip. So let's say that, right now we have to dispatch ourselves, so we double click and we dispatch. Update. And then his status is now going to be changed to, if it doesn't freeze and we don't make a fire, okay, perfect, update. It's dispatched. So he's dispatched on his way, driving along. Lovely, lovely. Once he arrives, he's arriving at the shipper where he's going to pick up the goods. Now, in the perfect world, they would be doing this themselves, but until we show them how to do it themselves, we have to push them through the system. And this is, we usually do this later, so we usually do it after we get our paperwork back, but we need to do it, sooner than later. So we keep moving them through the system. Depart shipper, arrive consignee. The status keeps changing. If you look at the status, depart consignee, and now that leg is crossed off. Now let's say along the trip something happened, or they added an extra stop. We wanted to add an extra stop. The thing we would have to do now is we would have to actually, if you're not too far along the trip, we would cancel the trip. So we would just go here and cancel the trip. It's going to show back up in available freight bills, and then we would go back to customer service and we would add those extra stops. If it's a huge change and you're on the beginning of a trip, we would just go straight back into customer service. We would find that freight bill. We would add the stops. We'd come back to optimize. The trip would be in freight bill again, and then we would double click to recreate the trip, and then we would re-optimize and make those make the changes that we have to make. At any time, you can add stops that are not billable. So if you needed to add a split, or let's say that they're doing a set out, we just right click and we would do split. And then you decide where it's at. So I don't know where the heck in between these places a set out would be. But that's how you would add a set out, and it would just insert a little area right in here, and then that would be where the set out would be. And then obviously we'll press cancel here. It's looking for this cancel and cancel. So if a driver were to change, if a power unit were to change or anything like that, what we would do is we would click on the exact, we would click on the number where it's changing at. So if we were to pick on this number and it's not changing until all the way on this leg, it's going to delete all the way down to the end. So if you're changing in Brooklyn here, it looks like we have 2 stops in Brooklyn, so it might have been no, I don't think it was extra, but there's just probably 2 stops that actually occurred there. So what we would do then is we would just change the trailer, and we would go to all the way up to deassign and then trailer. and it's going to ask where in the trip is it being deassigned, because if you deassign it here, it's going to follow the rest of the legs. So let's just say we want to deassign it from this point on. Then we would click deassign, and it's saying, will the items remain on 529? Because if you're leaving it for someone else to pick up, then you would say yes, of course. Unable to change the freight bill status while it's on active trip. So